I stepped out of that hotel room with my heels in my hand and shame on my face. My mascara was smudged, my blouse half-buttoned, and my throat burned from yelling. Freddie had just smashed the remote against the wall because I said I needed space. I stood in the cold Nebraska air, shaking, more from regret than the wind. This was not what I imagined when I first cheated on Chris. I thought I was choosing passion over numbness, freedom over routine, life over sleepwalking. But now I was not only lying to my husband, I was hiding from the man I betrayed him with. My name is Patricia. I am 45 years old. I thought cheating would set me free, but instead, I landed in a trap I cannot get out of. And I think I have already lost everything that mattered. Before I go deeper into my story, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all our new and returning viewers, especially those who have subscribed. I am truly grateful. And if you're watching this and have not hit that subscribe button yet, I honestly cannot wait for you to do so. Your support is the fuel that keeps this channel alive. Remember to drop your thoughts in the comments as the story unfolds. I read every one of them. Now, let me take you back to how it all began. Chris and I had been married for 20 years. He was a good man on paper, responsible, hardworking, steady. But for the last 7 years, we had lived like polite strangers. We talked about bills, groceries, our son in college, but nothing about us. I used to be full of life. I used to dance in the kitchen, paint on Sundays, laugh until my stomach hurt. But over time, I disappeared, piece by piece, smile by smile. Then I met Freddie. I was at a bookstore downtown. He was the barista at the coffee stand inside. He smiled at me like I was the only person in the room. I was flattered, then confused, then addicted. He was 30, handsome, confident, restless. He started leaving little notes in my coffee sleeve. Then came the flirty banter, then longer conversations. Within a month, I was meeting him after work. Within 2, I had crossed the line. The first time I cheated, I told myself it was just once. But the way Freddie made me feel, it became a drug. He told me I was beautiful, special, wild. He said Chris was blind, that I deserved better. I believed him. So I made him my secret, a secret I started to protect more than my own marriage, until I began to notice something off. Freddie got jealous when I texted during our time together. He would ask who I was messaging, even when it was just my sister. At first, I laughed it off. He said he was just into me. Then one night, I said I could not meet because Chris was homesick. Freddie went silent for 2 days, then showed up at my office. That was the first time I saw it. The anger behind the smile. He asked if I was lying, if I was with someone else. I reminded him I was the one cheating on my husband. Who else did he think I would be with? He laughed, then said, "Just making sure you know who you belong to." That sentence haunts me, because the next thing he took was my freedom. I should have walked away that night. When Freddie said, "You know who you belong to," something in me shifted. It was not love anymore. It was fear. But I told myself I was overreacting. I told myself he was just passionate, that he loved hard, that he was only afraid to lose me. But I was not overreacting. Things got darker from there. At first, it was small. He would question why I wore makeup when I was not seeing him. He started asking what time Chris left for work, if I could send pictures during the day. I laughed, said he was silly, said, "You know I am married." He replied, "Exactly. That is why I cannot trust you." The irony. The man I was betraying my husband with did not trust me. I tried to end things 3 times. Each time, Freddie would flip it around.
Cry.
Apologize. Blame his childhood. Then beg me not to leave. When that stopped working, he began to threaten. If you ghost me, I will show your husband the texts. If you block me, I will walk up to your house. I am not bluffing. If I cannot have you, I will make sure nobody else does. At that point, I was not in a relationship anymore. I was in a cage, and I built it myself. I could not tell anyone. Not my sister. Not my best friend. Not even my pastor. Because then I would have to admit what I had done. And Chris. Chris had started to notice the distance. He asked if I was unhappy, if he had done something wrong. I looked him in the eye and said, I am just tired. I was not tired. I was drowning. One day, I searched Freddie's name online. Just curiosity. But what I found changed everything. An old Reddit post popped up. A woman in Omaha wrote about a man named Freddie who dated her while she was married, then turned abusive when she tried to end it. She wrote, he made me feel seen, then controlled every move I made. I thought I was losing my mind. I messaged her. She never replied. But that post stayed with me like a warning bell I chose to ignore. Then it happened. Chris had gone on a business trip. He would be out of town for 3 days. I told Freddie I was unavailable, that I needed space. He replied, sure. No questions. No guilt. Just silence. I thought, maybe he is finally backing off. That night, I was upstairs folding laundry. I heard a knock at the door. When I opened it, Freddie was standing there, smiling, holding my favorite bottle of wine. I froze. He walked in without asking, sat on the couch like he owned it, said, I thought you could use company. I told him to leave. He laughed and said, you're not scared of me, are you? My hands trembled. Then he said something that made my heart drop. Chris ever find out, he will never believe it was just me chasing you. That was the night I realized. I did not just cheat on my husband, I invited danger into my home. I locked the door behind Freddie that night and stood in the hallway with my back pressed against the wall. I was breathing like I had just run a mile, but I had not moved at all. He had only stayed for 30 minutes. That was all it took for my home to feel poisoned. I knew then I had to get out, not just of the affair, but of the mess I had created. The next morning, I blocked Freddie's number, deleted every message, wiped my call log. I thought if I cleaned the evidence, the consequences might disappear too. But secrets, they do not stay buried. 2 days later, Chris came home from his trip. He kissed my cheek, thanked me for keeping the house in order, asked if I wanted to watch our favorite show. I sat beside him pretending not to be broken inside, but he noticed. Husbands always do when it is too late. He stared at me and said, you have been distant. I do not know what it is, but something is wrong. I lied again. I told him I was just overwhelmed at work. He nodded slowly, but I could see it in his eyes. He did not believe me anymore. That Friday, an email arrived in Chris' inbox. It had no subject line. Inside were 4 photos, all of me and Freddie. One at a diner, one outside the bookstore, one of us holding hands in my car, and one of us in that hotel parking lot. No words, no explanation, just proof. Chris did not speak to me for 3 days. He slept in the guest room, barely ate. He looked hollow. On the 4th night, he came to me. His hands were shaking as he held the phone in front of my face. He said, you lied to me, over and over again. I had no defense. I just cried and said, I made a mistake. He said, no, Patricia. A mistake is a moment. This was a choice. For months. Then he picked up his bag, and he walked out. Freddie disappeared too. vanished like smoke. He changed his number, deleted his social media. It was as if he had never existed. And me? I was left with silence. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind that sits in your chest and whispers, "This is what you did." I lost my marriage. I lost my self-respect. I lost the man who stood by me for 20 years, not because I fell out of love, but because I ran from my pain and chose the wrong kind of escape. People think cheating is about desire, but for me, it was about feeling alive again. And I paid for that feeling with everything I once held dear. If you are watching this and feel unseen in your marriage, do not do what I did. Speak up. Get help. Be honest. Because secrets only grow in the dark. And when they explode, they take everything with them. Thank you for watching and listening to my story. Now I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my place? Was there ever a moment I could have taken a different path? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if it moved you, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It is your support that gives these stories life. Until next time, stay honest, stay strong, and remember, nothing hidden stays hidden forever.